Welcome to ACTPod, a podcast show that sheds light on the stories and impact of the social sector. The show is proudly powered by Aspire Coronation Trust Foundation. Let's begin the change.
Hello, everyone. You're welcome to another inspiring edition of ACT Foundation's podcast, ACTPod. I am your host, Abiodun Owo, and today we're going to be learning from an expert. I call her the visibility queen. Yes, because that's exactly what she is. Glory Edozian is a thought leadership and branding expert who has helped hundreds of senior level executives build their brands and find their voices. She's worked with countless organizations in sectors like telecoms, the banking sector, even the public and non-profits. And today we're going to be talking about positioning for visibility. Please make welcome Dr. Glory Edozian.
Amazing. Thank you for having me. I'm super excited to be here with you guys.
Yes, thank you so much. So let's get started. So in the non-profit sector, we find that a lot of organizations do a lot of great things. They do so much good, yet they do not prioritize marketing. They don't prioritize advertising. They actually go with the do not blow your trumpet saying when they're doing their work. However, they're doing so much that needs to be seen. Can you tell us why in the first place do organizations need to be visible?
So I think that actually reminds me of issues that I even have with women who are most of the people that I coach. You know, this idea that, you know, the work will speak for me. You know, so, you know, I can imagine these amazing NGOs doing great work and they're not sharing it because they think, you know, what we're doing is good, you know, it will attract the attention it deserves. But unfortunately, the world doesn't work like that. The only thing that has a mouth is you. Or the organization, you know. Yeah. So for me, it's important depending on your goals. So I always say visibility is not an act of activity. It's not about activity. It's not about getting famous. I think a lot of people think visibility, advertising is about fame. It's not about that. It's about, you know, sharing your message so that the people who you need to help or who can help you can find you. You know, so I can imagine an NGO, you know, seeking for funding or even in terms of branding, you know, to attract the right people who care about the type of work that they're doing. So from an employee branding position, it's so important.
Okay. Little wonder why you won one of Nigeria's 100 most inspiring women, because you're inspiring me already.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for saying that.
Okay, so we'll move on quickly to the next question. What are some of the effective ways that organizations can actually create or increase visibility for their work?
So I think the first thing is there are different ways, there are different tools and strategies for visibility. The most important question organizations need to ask is, what are our visibility goals? Who can help us achieve those goals? And where do those people go? So for example, if you're seeking funders, if you are seeking maybe employees or, you know, whatever it is, whatever the goals of the organization, then saying to yourself, okay, maybe our funders read a specific type of magazine or they use a particular type of digital platform, you know, then these are the areas we should prioritize. So it's not about being everywhere and being nowhere and spreading yourself thin. It's about really looking at the strategy of saying the people we're trying to attract, what do they read? Where do they go? What are the news media that they prioritize? And then using that. From someone like myself, who I preach the gospel of LinkedIn, you know, because I think LinkedIn is an amazing platform. Why? Because it has, you know, a range of diverse audience categories. So you have people in NGO sector, people in private sector, you have people across the world. There are over 700 million users on LinkedIn. So whoever you're trying to attract, 90% chance that they are on LinkedIn. So I would say use LinkedIn. Also prioritize PR sources. You know, so your typical sort of TV channels, newspapers, and the like. But let it be where your audience categories focus, so that you're not spreading yourself too thin and not using a high portion of your budget for your marketing.
Okay, thank you very much. Our LinkedIn top voice. I'm reeling out her awards because, you know, I can't finish them even if I tried.
Stories that touch.
All right. Okay, so we come across organizations that, you know, you need to find them, but even when you do find them, you see that they either have bad quality of pictures, or they have still, so to say, information. Are there things that organizations should bear in mind when they're planning for visibility?
Yeah, I think, you raise a really valid point. I think many times people are like, okay, let's just get it done. Let's just put a picture up, or, they haven't updated their website. And these things are frustrating for people that come across your brand and want to interact with your brand, but they're not getting real-time, up-to-date information. And the internet and people's lives are busy. So if you want to attract the right attention, you have to invest time and resources in getting these tools done. So things like having great pictures, having a website that is up to date and easy, not a website where, it takes, 5 minutes to upload pictures. So make sure that you're using the right software that's going to make sure that, your pictures are being uploaded in real time. Make sure that you're using the right social media channels, all your information on those channels, make sure that they are well updated, share information about what you're doing, especially even about your staff as well, so that people can relate to companies. I find that the mistake organizations make is that they speak as an organization, right? I think it's always better when you're building visibility to humanize your organization. So what are you doing to humanize your NGO? Are you showcasing the people that you're helping or the sectors that you care about, and what challenges you're really solving? What about the people in your organization? What are their passions? What are their dreams? How are they coming to work every day and fulfilling their passions by working for this organization? By doing that, you're creating clear, consistent messaging about the problems that you're solving, and you're actually attracting the attention of people who care about the work you're doing and who want, ultimately to support you.
Okay. I really am enjoying this. I wish I could take notes. But then I have the opportunity of listening to this again and again and again. Okay, thank you so much. So you have touched on your staff, for example. You have touched on your beneficiaries, for example. I'd like to know, are there other stakeholders that one should bear in mind when you're talking, when you're planning for visibility?
So there, again, it comes back to the goal. What are you trying to achieve? So maybe an organization, for example, they are seeking funding. So think, okay, what are the different categories of funders? So maybe I'm looking for funding from government. I'm looking for funding from private institutions. Also funding from communities as well, individuals who want to support, or maybe philanthropic organizations, or, huge VC funds, who have a CSR element, So it's all about breaking down, not just, grouping, 7 different categories into one large group, but actually breaking down those different categories and stakeholders and saying, okay, who do we really want to attract? What is important to them? And then creating content that attracts those people.
Okay, so if I remember clearly what you have said, who do you want to attract? What are their goals? Are you even appealing to their goals? And then what exactly are you about as well? Should be things that should bear in mind, in talking about visibility. So, these days, you can't take out technology in whatever it is that you do. Is there any role that technology plays in increasing visibility for any organization?
A lot. I think technology really helps, whatever part of the world that you are in, to reach a global audience. So like what I was saying about LinkedIn earlier, and social media, other social media channels, I think it really does offer you the tools to go global with your message. But apart from that, also to relate and collaborate with other organizations that are doing similar work and that potentially could be great partners for the work that you're doing. So technology plays a great role in terms of access to the audience that you want to reach, access to, people who could potentially support you, but also in terms of how you create your, I will use the term visibility collateral. So whether it is your pictures, whether it is, stories that you want to tell about the work that you're doing, technology really does provide you the avenue to showcase that, and also to be diverse in the visibility materials that you create. So for example, do you want to use podcasts? Do you want to use videos? Do you want to use short film? So technology also gives you a range to create really diverse, interesting content that your community, the community you serve, or the people you want to support you would find interesting.
Okay, thank you very much. So visibility is something that we think that organizations should actually consider, from start.
Good.
Can visibility go wrong?
Yes.
Okay, tell us about it.
Visibility can certainly go wrong. And how can visibility go wrong? I think when you don't have a strategy and where you are everywhere and nowhere, like I said at the beginning. So for me, like I said, visibility is not just about, okay, this seems to be the most popular platform. Let's go there. Oh, everybody comments on here. Let's go here. Oh, it's not about that. It's about really sitting down and building out your own strategy. What are our goals? Why do we want to be visible? I always say your visibility is work, right? So you always have to know your why. Why do we want to be visible? Who do we want to be visible to? Why is it important that we are visible to them? What goals do they have that our visibility will be visible to them will be beneficial, right? And then based on that, you then create a strategy. I think when you are able to answer those questions, and obviously with time, those questions will evolve. Your goals for your organization might evolve, your funders may evolve, your stakeholders, even, the topics and the areas that you're dealing with may evolve. So it's always wise to keep updating that strategy. So visibility can certainly go wrong when you don't have a strategy. But even when you have a strategy, it's very important to monitor and evaluate. So M&A, exactly. Make sure that whatever effort you are putting in, you're looking at the return on investment. So for example, if we are prioritizing social media, what are the goals? What are our goals for social media beyond the metrics of followers and things like that? What do we want to attract? Because you can have 7,000 followers and think, okay, my visibility strategy is working. But when you want to raise funds or when you want to hire, you're not getting high quality people or leads, So you have to approach this, as a proper business, not just for show.
Okay. So, non-profits, when they operate as non-profits, they believe they are not for profit. However, like someone once said, you're not for loss either.
Exactly.
So you really need to plan,
really
strategize for visibility so that the challenge we keep hearing over and over again about non-profits, about funding opportunities and all that, maybe someday when they put themselves out there, then they can nip that in the bud. I want to say a big thank you to you, Dr. Glory, for this very short but quite insightful session. I have learned a lot, and I think I'll take some back to a couple of my friends in the nonprofit sector. I just wanted to know from you, do you have a favorite visibility quote that you'd like to share?
I think my favorite visibility quote is, I shared it earlier, it is, the only thing that has a mouth is you, right? This idea of, and that it's not boasting if it's facts. A lot of times people, erroneously believe that by, talking about the good work that they are doing, they are boasting, or, it's as if, are we the only organization? So and so organization has not shared the great work they've done. They've not shared their numbers. Who are we to share our numbers? Our numbers, are not good enough. They compare and all of those things. So what I always say is, it's not boasting if it's fact. And remember, the only person that has a mouth is you. Your work on its own cannot speak about the work. You have to speak about the work.
Okay, so you have heard it from the visibility queen herself. The only thing that has a mouth is you. So speak up for yourself. All right, on that note, we have come to the end of this session. Did I mention that Aspire Coronation Trust Foundation is 5 years this year?
Wow,
Yes.
Amazing.
And
Well
we have
done,
achieved
guys.
so much. We have inspired people. We have affected lives in their millions. And we hope to continue to do more. And we'll be celebrating sometime later in the year.
I'll be looking forward to my invite.
We certainly will invite you.
Good.
Okay, so once again, we have come to the end of this session. Do stay tuned next time. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you for listening to ACTPod. For inquiries and feedback, please reach us on actpod@actrustfoundation.org. Follow us on social media at ACTFoundation_ on Instagram and Twitter, and Aspire Coronation Trust Foundation on Facebook. The show is proudly powered by Aspire Coronation Trust Foundation. ACTPod, our story, our continent.